You're listening to Productivity Monsters in the Morning. We are the energy volt your real estate business needs to get you up and out and excited and productive for the day. We go over trending topics and things that really matter in the market of the moment. Here are your hosts, Tiffany Hampton and Brooke Silva.
Good morning, Brooke.
Good morning, Tiffany. How are you?
I'm good. Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. I am pretty grateful this morning for that extra light this morning that is coming in the window in my office, just a little different. Not so grateful for 5 o'clock nighttime darkness plunge.
I know it's a little depressing. And I think that's a great conversation starter of what we're going to discuss today, right? Because it's really easy. Like we were talking before we started recording about seasonal depression and how we get in our heads and how we have this mindset or a negativity that, our negative self-talk. And we can fix it all by doing one thing. Practicing gratitude.
Yes. And grace, because we know that I'm not great at grace for oneself.
Well, and I feel like that's why everybody's like, why do we do gratitude in November? Well, maybe it's because the time changes.
Right.
Colder. It's darker at night. The energy is different. So that gratitude piece that people should be putting in their life really supports the energy that needs to be changed.
And it becomes a habit. I was telling you before about a speaker we actually had at one of the KWs I was at in Bedford. We had this gentleman come in, and he's got a funny name, but it's who he is. His name is Mr. Thank You, John Israel. And he was a guest speaker for us at the Market Center. And I thought, oh my goodness, his whole thing was a journey to elevate the level of gratitude on the planet, one handwritten card at a time. Right. So it's a story about not only his journey, but how do you truly give thanks? Because what I realized for years after meeting this gentleman was that the way I was writing my thank you cards was about me and not about the person I was sending it to.
Right.
Instead of being like, oh, I loved the sweater you gave me. I could have been, I am so grateful you thought of me and took the time to find the most perfect gift, right? What a different thank you card instead of thank you for the sweater.
Yeah. And you never know where a person is in their journey, and the impact of that gratitude and that thankfulness could change the trajectory of where their life is going.
Big time. And I got to tell you, when we started writing cards different and we started following a different model, my handwritten cards, I felt so good. It was not a chore anymore to get however many I needed to that week out the door. And I was actually excited about that as part of my lead gen time. Like I got really excited because I got to take a few minutes to think about the best parts of people and really write different types of notes. But more important, and we'll get to this later in the texting, but I notated what I did because I never wanted to duplicate that again. Like I never wanted to hurt someone. And boy, do I have a story about that after. But let's get to our affirmation. You want to take it away for our affirmation?
Absolutely. Our affirmation is, I am thankful for the obstacles I have overcome along the way.
Sounds like a GK one.
Yeah. We all talk about living a big life, right? And it'd be really great if we can live a big life without those obstacles. And yet that's what makes our life big.
It's funny. So Hope, my daughter, is authoring and illustrating a children's book at 6 years old. And this thing is hysterical. The drawings, the way she spelled things in her own brain make perfect sense and are on par with her age of learning. Someone in my family kept saying, oh, you spelled this wrong. You spelled this wrong. And I pulled him aside and I said, listen, not only do I want to capture this, what she's doing as a piece of history of this child, but also this is a learning phase for her. She's excited that she's putting her knowledge down. And when she rereads it with the knowledge of how to spell things later, she'll know. And now we've got this great little piece of history of Hope Silva. But that person was so caught up on you didn't spell it right. You didn't do it right. This is not how you do that. And I am such a wild child as it is with my wild child. It's like, free, go do what you want to do. And then if you fall, we'll pick you up along the way and correct you. But man, I love watching her make all those little mistakes. Yet we have no grace to thyself when we do those things as adults.
Well, and you know, we've said it on numerous trainings we've done together. We wouldn't balk at a child learning how to walk and tell them they're doing it wrong, right? So when did that turn around where we desired to knock people down instead of raise them up?
And so as somebody who's a tech who loves technology and all the things that it can do for communication, I also hate this because we are surrounded in a world where we are hit with messaging after messaging on multiple platforms. I've actually gotten to a point in my world where I time block for social media twice a day. That's it. So if people are sending me messages, sorry, friends. If it's not in my time, I'm not getting to it because the messages I was getting were bringing me down. All I'm looking at is this negative, where when used correctly, social media can really propel your business because now I'm choosing to use it for different things. Mm-hmm. So I'm using social media as a way to figure out who I should be sending thank you cards to, congratulations cards to, things that will help me in my relationships. So I'm using social media as a springboard into gratitude because I'm looking for people who may need a little note of love or thanks, or a pick me up, a hey, here's a smile for your day type of thing. And even if I haven't talked to them in a long time, I'll send a message. Thinking about you, I'll find one of the memories. I think Facebook memories are the worst and best thing of all time. Right? But I will pull that picture up, send it in a messenger and be like, do you remember this?
Yeah.
And absolutely. I love being able to do that. But our messaging is just so negative, and you get to a point where you stop looking for fact and you just listen to the noise. And I don't like that noise. And I can tell when I'm hearing too much and I have to quiet social media.
Absolutely. And, you know, and what I loved in what you said is, I really love the sweater you bought me, right? Like, thank you so much for taking the time about thinking, you know, of thinking of me and, you know, going out and finding the perfect sweater that, you know, I would enjoy, right? What a difference in thank you so much for the sweater into being grateful for the time and energy they spent in that activity of getting it for you.
And that feels, when I tell you I smile when writing those cards, I look like a lunatic in my office, I'm sure. I mean, let's face it, I look like a lunatic anyway in my office. But wait till you see my newest costume. I digress. The thought of writing to some people, especially me, I have bad hands. Like I have all kinds of things. I had surgeries. Writing actually hurts. But when I'm writing these cards, the smile it produces because of the feeling it brings back, I forget that I'm writing. And I also have a really fun stamp. Like I pull my stamp. I got my Brooke the Nerd stamp. It's down. And I add stickers and I add silly things. And, you know, I make sure my personality does show through these things. But I really just love the act of handwriting. And it's funny because part of what we coach about is to send handwritten cards. It's super important. Mm-hmm. Everybody thinks snail mail is dead. And I will tell you, us who still practice the art of a handwritten note will always win, because it's those type of things that set you apart from those who are so into, I just need to know how to print my labels. I just need to know how I can automate this process. So I'm just signing my name and off I go. And boy, are they missing out in the relationship part of it. Why are writing those cards so important, Tiff?
Well, it's building the relationship, right? And the whole time you were speaking, and I'm supposed to be listening with intent, and yet the only thing that popped into my head is when you show gratitude to someone, they want to be in your life, right? You know, we talk about lead generation in the business of real estate, and we talk about lead generation in the business of real estate. And it's It's building the relationship. It's not even the follow-up. Like, let's just take those words out of it, because those words are so impersonal, right? Like, how do you build great relationships where they know who you are and how they support you, and you don't have to ever mention it because you're such an impactful part of their life? Like, what would 100 of those relationships look like instead of 25,000? Good luck. I have no idea who you are, right? We have two ways of doing this business, and yet what's the path of least resistance, and what's the path of great energy?
And I'm all, well, you know me, I'm all about that great energy, right? Like I lived in darkness for so long in my earlier years as an adult that I choose to walk in light and energy every day. And it is hard to be positive every day, all the time. But when you start with gratitude, it becomes so easy.
Right.
And it's, I don't even think about gratitude anymore. It just is, it's there. And the Mr. Thank You Project, when he spoke, when John Israel spoke to us, what a pivotal change in my world. It's also when I started at the Market Center thinking there's more to what I do here and I want more. And I will forever be grateful to the productivity coach there, Tony Wallace, for bringing Mr. Thank You in. It's one of those speakers where you're like, I can define a moment in my life where my life changed. And it was with this speaker. I started thinking, okay, who can I thank to help me get where I also want to go? Who do I want to be in relationship that I'm not in relationship in my world? So that way I can continue to grow. And it became such a fun thing. Cards became a game almost. So writing cards is so important, but this is why I'm all over people about engaging on social media and in other places and bringing it back to your database, because there will be times where you do not know what to write. But if you open your contacts and your CRM and you have all those tags and you have the notes and you can see what you wrote before, ooh, do you have a platform to spring off from and know exactly what to write?
Yeah. And, we make this all harder than we should, right? At the end of the day, it's we're only on this planet, take business out of it. We're only on this planet for a certain amount of time. And the mission and the goal is to be as impactful as positive, right? Mm-hmm. Some of us take it to one level, others take it to another level. And, who are those people? Who are those people that, they talk about when you're sitting down writing your obituary, when you're sitting down and you're 86 or whatever the year is, and you're thinking, if I could change anything in my world, like, have those conversations in the morning.
Yeah.
Like, who do you want to be thankful? Like, if it was your last day on this planet, who do you want to show appreciation to?
And why would you wait for one last day?
Right?
Why would you wait for one last day? Tiffany, how many cards should our friends be writing a week if they want to increase and create a business based on relationships?
Ideally 10.
That's not a lot.
Yeah.
10 grateful moments. I can think of at least 10 a day where I am grateful for someone or something that's happened.
Well, and let's just look, what is your business plan? What's your business model look like? Are you like, I'm sure you can find time. I'm sure you have an hour in your calendar. Like, who have you been in business with? Who have you desired to be in business with? And how can you show appreciation? Like, if you're looking to invest, who is an investor that you look up to that probably doesn't even have a clue who you are? And what would it look like if you send a note card? You don't know me. However, I've been watching your journey, and I just want to say thank you for taking those steps and making that happen.
I have never expect a celebrity or a person who's on a national stage to get back to me, but I still write those notes. I have someone, the silliest thing, I cannot sing. Don't ever ask me to sing. I don't do karaoke. I will lip sync. I can't dance. But I started taking vocal lessons through an online platform with someone I found on TikTok to help warm up my voice every morning before I go on. I sound ridiculous. I look ridiculous, and I love every second of it in my car. But I wrote her a note last week because I realized I have not lost my voice once since doing this. And while her program is not, it's to produce singers on the national stage, but it's changed my world, like, big time. silly things like that. I don't expect a response from her, but it felt good to send it.
Right.
So here's your tech coaching action. It is super important that when you do this, when you send the note, you do mark the activity. Quick story, someone, an agent, productivity coach, saw someone in the grocery store, did what they were supposed to do, ran back to their car, wrote a quick thank you note, dropped it in the mail about how great it was to run into them at the grocery store. Month later, runs into the same person at the grocery store, does what they're supposed to do, runs back to their car, wrote the same note almost verbatim. They had forgotten to log it in their database. I was there when this agent received the call from the person about, not only was it the same exact note card, like it was the same note card, not a branded one or anything. It just happened to be the same, plucked it out of the pile, same one. But they sent a text message showing, and the client said, it is clear you do not care about me or value our relationship because you sent the same thing. Mm-hmm. The agent had in their database, how funny is it that we, so first card, ran into you at the grocery store. Great to see you, blah, blah, blah. Second card could have been, how funny is it that we grocery shop on the same day all the time? So nice to see you again. I'll be 12 next week. You could have been so funny. That lost them a relationship, lost a client. So as little as you think it is, use voice to text. Most of our platforms have a phone app, voice to text what you wrote, save it. Takes seconds. And those seconds could save or make it so you never cause a relationship to break like that.
100%. Because people want to feel cared about, appreciated, and they want to feel that they are important to us. And doing the same thing over and over again and being a robot, which is why I'm not a fan of having platforms that send out automatic messaging. Like, it's okay to have a system and a process to remind you to do a task, but make it yours.
I don't love it either. And I fight it with everything in my soul. And I know if you're a big team and you've got to do these because you have hundreds of thousands of people to get in front of, that's one thing. But as a new agent, you want to make sure every touch counts and that it's coming from a device and not a cold robot. Use the automation to remind you to do things. But friends, that's your lead gen. Wishing someone a happy home anniversary, a happy birthday, a happy wedding anniversary, a happy event, something, that's part of lead generating because it's relationship building. So get out there, figure out who you want to write notes to and start writing them and start just sending some love to people.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, PM in the AM, we had a lot to go over today. Those books will be in our show notes. And if you have any questions, PMintheAM@kw.com. Reach out to me or Tiffany, and we will gladly chat with you.
Yeah. And I feel like tomorrow's call, we might be in the same room.
No.
I know. We'll find out.
We will. Bye, guys.
Bye.